Okay, wait, real quick. I need to go through. There are some emails I've gotten with shutting to like read before I can delete them. Okay, we had this. Don't care. Oh, this guy emailed me this. Hi, hope you remember. Okay. I don't know if this guy's a lawyer or not. I have no clue. Understanding indirect versus direct intent for mens rea. I wanted to break down a way to explain direct intent versus indirect or oblique intent when examining Trump's actions under mens rea, quote, guilty mind, end quote. Intents, direct intent, purpose to cause grave bodily harm. You can intend a result that is not your aim or purpose. Oblique intent, foresight of grave bodily harm, as a virtually certain consequence of the defendant's act. It's much wider in scope than direct intent. The foresight or knowledge is fundamental to this type of intent. A result may not be desired, nor be your aim or purpose, but will be obliquely intended if it is. If it is, and then there's 2 points here, a necessary prerequisite and foreseen by you as a virtual certainty. Example 1, indirect or oblique intent with foresight of an undesired consequence. Facts/scenario. Emma's trying to scare the fuck out of her neighbor by throwing a piece of rock at their window. Emma hates her neighbor, Casey, because she's fucking obnoxious. Emma here doesn't really want to hurt anybody, but she foresees that there's some chance someone could be near the window and get hurt. Despite that foresight, she throws that shit anyway and ends up hitting her neighbor, causing an injury, whatever injury it may be, head, eye, etc. doesn't really matter. Breaking it down. Emma's primary or first intention was to scare her neighbor, Casey, not to injure her. However, she foresaw that injury was possible as a consequence of her action and proceeded to execute the action anyway. This foresight of the undesired consequence, the injury, forms the basis of indirect intent. Example 2, indirect or oblique intent as a necessary prerequisite to a desired purpose/result. Facts or scenario. Alex wants to burn down a small little shed to clear space for a new garden. He knows that by doing so, the flames might spread to a close-by tree, which could fall and fuck up his neighbor's fence. Although Alex doesn't want to damage the fence, he realizes that burning down the small shed may result in the tree falling, which is a necessary step in order to achieve his goal of clearing the space. Breaking it down. In this example scenario that I've conjured, the damage to the fence is a possible consequence of Alex's desired result of burning down that little shed. The potential harm to the neighbor's fence is not what Alex wants or desires, but it is a necessary prerequisite to achieving his ultimate purpose, making way for his new garden. Even though undesired, his foresight of the consequences is part of indirect intent. Example 3. Indirect or oblique intent with a virtually certain consequence of a desired result/purpose. Facts or scenario. Lisa decides to blow up a building that hasn't been used since like the 1800s so she can make way for a new road. Lisa is aware that the explosion will inevitably cause debris to fly into a nearby street, which is virtually certain to result in damage to the neighbor's cars. These folks got nice cars, some Porsches, some Lambos, even some Hellcats. Even though Lisa doesn't aim to damage the nice cars, she recognizes that this outcome is virtually certain to happen due to her actions. Breaking it down, in this situation, the car damage is a virtual certain consequence of Lisa's desired result, destroying that building. Although it's not a primary goal, she knows that this damage is inevitable given her actions. This recognition of a virtually certain consequence, despite it being undesired, constitutes indirect intent. I forgot to add this line. This is for the UK community fans to understand. Intent is characterized slightly differently in the UK. Is indirect intent the same as intent for, is it just a type of intent for any criminal charge? Linkin Park debuts new singer Emily Armstrong, replacing the late Chester Bennington. Is this good or bad? People are freaking out. Why? She is very good. She is a woman. Okay, what is this? Good morning. Aside from the illegality of Trump's PR stunt at Arlington National Cemetery, it is vile to use the deaths of U.S. soldiers as political pawns. Imagine if Kamala Harris's campaign took a picture of her giving a thumbs up at the gravesite of Jan 6 Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, a death directly caused by Trump. What can only be explained as a dark twist of irony is that Trump's infamous thumbs up at the tombstone of Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover was only a couple hundred meters from the cremated remains of Sicknick. Each is buried in neighboring sections of the cemetery. It is insane to imagine Trump gleefully parading around the corpses of soldiers from the Afghanistan withdrawal to dunk on Biden and Harris while the ashes of Sicknick have to sit there and watch. All the best. I'd prefer to remain anonymous. Oh, and he provides maps to where the graves are. Rip. Legal points for the Harvey Silver Glate discussion. During the discussion with Harvey Silverglate, he took several positions that have superficial appeal, and I thought you would find useful as few specific rejoinders to his deflections. First, you offered a hypothetical that a lawyer could conspire with a client. Here's a better hypothetical. Let's say a client came to a lawyer and wanted to know a lawful way or know lawful ways to kill someone. The lawyer offers advice that the client should threaten a victim's family unless the victim threw themselves off a bridge. The lawyer offers cutting-edge legal advice that the Supreme Court may make new law that, because the threat was directed not at the victim but to their family, it is protected by the First Amendment. This hypothetical connects directly to the point you were making, that Eastman is literally offering a playbook on how to evade the law and hiding behind the privileges of the legal profession. In Massachusetts, Mr. Silverglate's home state, several individuals actually have been convicted of manslaughter by coercing suicide, in spite of First Amendment objections. While it's one thing to analyze an event after the fact, it is another to encourage and help someone craft their crime. What's more, Eastman arguably worked directly in furtherance of the conspiracy by virtue of his collaboration with Chesbrough to deliver the fake ballots to the Capitol. This offers a basis to extend the hypothetical and showcase the vacuity of the position and highlight the absurdity of Silverglate's policy argument, i.e., do we really need lawyers to be able to aid crimes with impunity? Second, in addition to the only court to look at this, Judge Ezra in the Central District of California, finding that his actions met the crime fraud exception to legal privilege, Eastman also sought relief from the Supreme Court, and his request was turned away without comment. You can see the filings here. There are some procedural legal nits that make this interesting, but it is wholly accurate to say that he sought to overturn the ruling at the Supreme Court and failed. The Supreme Court apparently agreed with your position. Finally, his point that this simply would, quote, all end up in court, end quote, is dangerous and wrong. If the plot had succeeded, it would have caused a constitutional crisis. It is by no means clear that a court could or would review a dispute about the procedures and vote within Congress. It seems likely that this would be deemed a political question, leading to the very outcome they sought, but causing a constitutional crisis by pressuring officials to disregard the law is not as anodyne as Mr. Silverglate described. Jeez. Okay. Let's see. Are we on video for this? Do you have any plans for the big presidential debate on Tuesday? You have something weird on your calendar for that day? Wait, what do I have on that day? Hold on. Piotr Foreign Politics. Some conversation with a guy? I imagine it's probably a short combo, or like an hour or two or whatever. Shouldn't be a big deal. Okay. Oh boy, what is this? Hold on.
Today was also about Donald Trump's economic speech, and we watched a lot of it. And I would dare any of you to listen to his answer on childcare and tell me what the hell he was talking about. It was one of the more incoherent things I've ever heard. He thinks tariffs are going to pay for everything. We know that there are attacks on the consumer. But this really highlights a big problem that everyone is saying, well, Trump is so transparent and Trump's out there and that's all that matters. What matters is the content of what he's saying. And none of it is explainable. This issue, which is a big priority for people, obviously a central plank of what's going on in the Harris campaign, he doesn't have an answer besides tariffs. And J.D. Vance yesterday was talking about just have grandma and grandpa do more, that's some sort of solution for people. He's going to have energy prices, drill baby drill, even though we're producing more oil than we ever have before, leading the world, more tax cuts for the rich, and tariffs are the only way that we're going to be paying for it.
I think tariffs are designed to punish countries who subsidize their products.
And
no, for specific countries they do. Look, I know.
You know what?
I know tariffs.
I've dated tariffs.
Okay. All right, we've got good Anna tweets, who's obsessed with Israel and immigrants. Colorado law firm report claims Venezuelan gang has stranglehold on apartments. Takeover began in 2023. CBS News Colorado also obtained internal Aurora police documents from June that appear to support some of the law firm's conclusions. An officer reported responding to a call from a house cleaner at Whispering Pines. He said that she told police that she was threatened, that she needed to give up the keys to the vacant apartments of the Whispering Pines apartments so that a group of Venezuelans could move people into the Whispering Pine apartments, the officer reported. Suspects left, but not before warning her to comply or else they would kill her or her family. The Aurora officer wrote to fellow officers, I would highly recommend you guys take 2 to 3 friends with you when responding to any calls there. Okay, what is this Venezuelan gang apartment takeover thing? What's going on here? Venezuelan gang takeover, Colorado. Oh, we got videos. What, did this story break like 2 days ago? Tyler Oliveira.
These are illegal.
What is, does this guy lean left or right? I feel like I fight with this guy on Twitter. No, 1.8 million subs? I don't think so. I have no clue.
Venezuelan.
Let's find out.
Immigrants, part of the Tren de Aragua gang, breaking into an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. At least that's what the current narrative
Our 1.8 million views on this video, 6.7 million subs, sorry.
going viral on Twitter is right now.
They're armed and ready. They'll try to wipe your windows and then come rob you.
Well, I see that bullet hole in my bedroom window, huh?
That's a bullet hole right there?
We've been terrorized. Gunshots, the trash piling up.
Every time we try to go to bed at night, we have to keep it like this so nobody can kick in the door.
Besides this incident caught on camera, is Aurora in...
Was that added in post, or was that really the sound of that, is it the bolt being, what do you call it on an AR-15 when you chamber the round?
Floor.
Besides this incident caught on camera, is Aurora
Also, why at close range? What's the purpose of this scope here? Christ.
in flames right now? Have Venezuelan gangsters conquered the entire...
He's trying to shoot somebody all the way in the back of the apartment. Sorry, okay.
On camera, is Aurora in flames right now? Have Venezuelan gangsters conquered the entire city? And are the Hells Angels actually on their way to enact vigilante justice on this gang while the police sit by and do nothing?
This Venezuelan gang has indeed taken over at least some of the buildings. You're saying at least 2 of the 3. And what I just heard from you is you don't know how they ended up there. And you even made a suggestion that they could have been sent there.
But what we're learning out here is that gang members have not taken over this complex.
The city of Aurora is contradicting itself on the extent of Venezuelan gang activity in that city. The mayor told Fox News this week the gang is collecting rent at a troubled apartment complex. The interim police chief in a this week, the gang is collecting rent at a troubled apartment complex.
Oh, that was the video. I thought I heard balls rolling behind us. What the fuck?
The interim police chief, in a video press release, says that's not happening.
In an attempt to clear confusion and figure out myself what is and what is not fake news, I pulled up there myself to find out.
Fist up, guns down. You see that? Fist up, guns down. United we stand, divided we fall. Stop the gun violence. We're in it. We have all these ominous posters indicating some mass violence out here. We sure we don't want to roll up the window and film through it? So the surrounding neighborhoods, I'm sure, have a lot of opinions.
Does the window protect you from what caliber?
On what's going on here. Probably a lot of the negative attention that has been brought. Also, there's not a single source of media here.
Everything on Twitter is telling me we're going to show up to a war zone in this apartment complex. I doubt that's going to be the case. So I hopped out of the car and walked straight up to the apartment complex with...
Can you think of any overlap between the archetypes of the Russian misinformation bot and Russian misinformation content creator? What?
I doubt that's going to be the case. So I hopped out of the car and walked straight up to the apartment complex with no clue what was going on and with hopes of not getting shot with a scoped rifle. Is it true that gangs have taken over this apartment complex or no? Prender agua?
No sé, hermano.
Okay,
no
okay. ¿Es peligrosa aquí o no?
Sí. Sí.
¿Por qué? Like, pop, pop, pop?
Sí, muchos plomos, sí, pero no, o sea, no puedo...
Criminales.
No puedo hablar más de lo que puedo decir porque también es mi seguridad de mi persona.
Are most of the people that live here from Venezuela?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Y yo fui uno de los primeros que llegó aquí a los edificios.
¿Bien?
El principio fue bien, pero después que cambió la administración de los edificios, todo se volvió nada. Todo cambió. Los edificios no sirven, no good, los apartamentos.
No bueno aquí.
No good.
Oh, interesante. Pregunta, ¿es tren de agua aquí?
No.
¿No? Ok. Fake news? Falso news? Ok, gracias. ¿Es tren de agua aquí o no?
No.
¿No?
No.
¿Peligrosa aquí lately? ¿No? ¿Es cierto que los pandillas se han apoderado de este complejo de apartamentos o no?
No.
What a baller, reading the translation off the phone.
No sé, porque yo vivo trabajando, yo vengo del trabajo y a dormir.
¿Cuántos años vive aquí?
Meses.
3
meses.
Okay, ¿de dónde eres?
Venezuela.
Okay, I'm sure that'll be a common story out here. We are not hearing any confirmed gang activity. Is that you get shot out here, by the way, guys? Okay, have you heard about like the gang activity and that sort of thing?
No, I hear gunshots all the time throughout the night.
Gunshots all the time?
About the apartment somewhere over here that 2 people died in.
Okay.
2 people were shot apparently.
Is it safe out here?
During the day mostly. I don't like to travel around through the neighborhood at night or around dusk.
Tren de agua.
Around dusk? Who says that? Is that a real... What state is this? Do people really say that? I don't travel at night or dusk.
No corren los apartamentos.
No.
Los rejas de los
Hey, they didn't do the reload sound that time. What the fuck?
Creo que hay una desinformación con respecto a un video que anda...
Do you think the average person could distinguish a gunshot from loud, similar sounds? Absolutely not. No.
circulando. En realidad a mí no me han extorsionado, yo no he pagado, yo siempre pagué aquí a los propietarios como tal, siempre. No puedo decir que hayan pandillas aquí porque en verdad yo no tengo conocimiento de eso.
Okay.
Y sería una injusticia uno hablar lo que no es. De eso deberían encargarse las autoridades de investigar bien y si es cierto que está aquí metido el tren de agua.
Do you think it's motivated by fear of immigrants and xenophobia?
Creo que hay una campaña en contra también de nosotros, lo bueno. Yo creo que las autoridades deberían abocarse al problema como tal. Aquí hay muchos padres de familia, muchas personas que tenemos nuestro proyecto, que vinimos con un futuro, que vinimos a construir un futuro, a llevar al país, a que salga adelante. Y creo que nos están metiendo a todos en el mismo saco y no debería ser.
Pregunta para ti. ¿Es falso información regarding la tren de agua, los criminales aquí?
Falsa.
You got a door in the window right here. You got a barred wall on the wall. Someone's definitely driven into it. Everyone here's chill, but something's going down. We got broken glass over here. I don't know if we want to find out what's going down in there, but there's some noise calling me in. There's broken glass, broken windows, broken doors everywhere out here. Pregunta para ti. Hola. ¿Tú sabes del video? Go like, pop, pop, pop.
No.
Allí. Okay. ¿Es peligrosa aquí o no?
Sí.
He might be part of the gang. That guy seemed, I don't know, maybe?
Porque actividades criminales.
Sí, mucho de la serie y todo.
Okay. Muchas policías recientemente.
Mucho.
Porque papá.
Sí,
okay.
Muchos balazos.
¿Cuántos meses vive aquí?
2 años.
Pregunta para ti. Hola. ¿Tren de agua aquí o no? Mucha. Peligrosa. Okay. Bien. Tren de agua is here, he said. I said dangerous. He said no. Fuck and find out. Oh, great.
Oh, shit.
This is not a good sign. We got large piles of uncollected trash here. Normal, standard. If you got the van normal, I'm pretty sure this means stop the violence or something. Is it safe out here? Yeah. No? Okay, be safe. Cops are out here often?
Yeah.
Lots of shootings?
It's not safe out here. She's walking her dog. Based.
Shootings last night. Be safe. Is it fake news?
Sí, es que acá nosotros vivimos, trabajamos y, o sea, llegamos del trabajo y para la casa nos acostamos temprano.
¿Cuántos años vive aquí?
No, yo acá tengo 8 meses.
¿De dónde eres?
De Venezuela.
Maybe that's why she has the dog. She's not walking the dog. The dog is walking her to keep her safe.
Did you see the video of the guy with the big rifle?
Ah, sí, por el TikTok, sí.
Okay. ¿Qué es?
O sea, no sé porque yo no los conozco, no.
Is this the entire video? Is just him talking to random people, or?
No. O sea, porque nosotros llegamos de trabajar y para la casa.
Muchas de las personas aquí ilegales o de Venezuela.
De Venezuela. Yo soy de Venezuela. O sea, yo estoy arreglando mis papeles porque la verdad entramos fue por migración.
I see. I want to see if it's false or fake news regarding the gangs inside the buildings. Can you take me inside and give me a tour?
¿Pasar ahí por ahí?
Sí.
¿Sí?
¿Sí posible? ¿A qué vamos? ¿De Venezuela?
No, yo soy de México.
México. Okay. Muchas personas aquí tienen papá.
Yo no he visto ninguna persona.
Okay. Son muy tranquilos.
Sí, yo estoy tranquilo. Aquí estoy tranquilo.
Okay. ¿Qué? ¿Cuántos dólares por meses?
Renta,
sí.
Están cobrando como 1.300, 1.400.
Okay. It's pretty chill up here. Really nice place. Got a nice view. Everyone? Oh, es aquí. Un momento. Yo quiero mirar un video. Cuéntame.
$1,300 to $1,400 a month? What the fuck? What city are we in? Aurora? The fuck? That's the most criminal thing I've seen in this fucking video. What? These better be 4-bedroom fucking mansions.
Ese apartamento no es aquí.
¿A dónde es? It's a white door. Maybe they got a new door?
Hay diferentes apartamentos.
Diferente. ¿Allí?
Todos los edificios tienen la misma puerta, 301.
¿Qué es esto? It's a reinforced wall. Take a look at this. What is this? ¿Una persona vive aquí?
No sé, yo estoy viviendo. Está cerrado.
Should I knock?
Sí, señor.
Hola. The doors are walled off right now?
Esas puertas son normales, pero yo no había visto eso.
Okay. Hola. Amazon delivery? Okay, so we got the broken glass here. Look. This was broken in too long ago. This looks like it's in a pretty bad state of disrepair. We got Feastables on the ground, though. That's crazy. Mr. Beast Feastables on the ground in there, along with heroin needles and fentanyl foil and trash. This is quite the experience. Oh boy, some broken stools here, ears all over the place, family inside, a lot of Modelo's out here. So that looks fully boarded up right there. Like it looks like someone's reinforced their door, and that may be a new door for 301. That's my guess. I can knock. I'm gonna stand at a distance, minimize your risk, I suppose. So that looks boarded up. Looks like it's been broken multiple times. You can hear the fire alarm that hasn't been changed. That's a meme. Hola. So due to recent events, I think it's understandable that no one wants to answer the door. This place is fucked up. I'm amazed people.
Did you hear that?
Hola. So due to recent events, I think it's understandable that no one wants to answer the door. This place is fucked up.
Was that a shoe or was it an alarm with low batteries?
I'm amazed people live here. This is some third world country shit. Mucho de este, sí. Rocks, rocas, guns, bullets. Lots of broken glass out here.
I speak English too.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
John, all right, are these bullet holes?
Lately it's crazy.
Lately crazy?
Yeah, but you know, I stay to my business.
If you mind your own business out here, it's chill, safe.
It is. This one's supposed to be the safe, the best building in there.
This one right here?
Yeah, this is the best building.
Yo, any of y'all want to be interviewed in there? We're trying to figure out if the gangsters have taken this place over. I'm looking right there.
Okay, well, this is a huge fucking waste of time. What are all these? Colorado law firm report claims Venezuelan gang has stranglehold on apartments. Takeover began in 2023. A Denver law firm hired to look into an alleged gang takeover of an Aurora apartment building says that they found the Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang began taking over the Whispering Pines apartments in late 2023. Since then, the gang has engaged in violent assaults, threats of murder, extortion, strong-arm tactics, and child prostitution as they have exerted a stranglehold on the Aurora apartment complex. That's according to a letter sent to Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman, Aurora City Manager Jason Batchelor, and the interim police chief. It was obtained by CBS News Colorado. Each page, the 9-page report, was labeled confidential treatment requested. The Perkins Coy law firm shared its findings on August 9th with Aurora's top administrators. The evidence we have reviewed indicates that gang members are engaging in flagrant trespass violations, assaults and battery, human trafficking, and sexual abuse of minors, unlawful firearms possession, extortion, and other criminal activities, often targeting vulnerable Venezuelans. Targeting vulnerable Venezuelan and other immigrant populations, wrote T. Marcus Funk, a former U.S. attorney. Funk did not respond to emails and phone calls from CBS News Colorado, and a second associate at the law firm also did not respond to inquiries from CBS News Colorado. The firm says it represents the lender for Whispering Pines Apartments, 1357 Helena Street, one of several Aurora apartment buildings allegedly controlled by the Tren de Aragua gang. The law firm says it interviewed witnesses and reviewed video from the Whispering Pines for its investigation. The letter marks the first time specific details and instances revealed by the gang allegedly took over the apartments and how they have been operating. They have threatened to kill members of Whispering Pines management, according to the report. Investigators interviewed the property manager, who had 15 years of experience in the industry. The property manager said he had never seen anything remotely like this takeover of Whispering Pines in his entire career. Whispering Pines consists of 54 apartments with rent ranging from $1,450 to $2,000 per month, according to the report. Tenants are generally working-class Hispanic families with children. The property manager told the law firm that he started his job in January of 2024, but that TDA, the gang, had already been establishing a presence at the apartments before his employment. November of 2023, the report states a consultant for the property management company was so severely beaten and stomped by gang members that he had to go to the hospital. The report says the beating was unprovoked. Is there a is this a police report or is it just like the law firm's report? If it was an attack, then there is a police report. Well, I mean, if they call the police, right? The gang activity at Whispering Pines escalated in 2024, according to the document obtained by CBS News Colorado. In April 2024, a housekeeper called the property manager, informing him that two individuals at the property went into an apartment, came out with large firearms, were coming to kill him, the property manager. The individuals were apparently past due on rent. Damn. They did not tip their landlords. You could tell. The property manager said that the two individuals were arrested as they were coming to kill him. The report says the men who were armed with large firearms were gang members. The property manager went on to say that gang members allegedly stabbed a Whispering Pines resident for refusing to pay rent to the gang. Since then, the property has recorded footage of gang members knocking on doors and without authorization or any other justification, attempting to collect rent from the tenants of Whispering Pines. In June, the report says suspected gang members approached the property manager and offered to help the manager if he agreed to pay the gang 50% of everything the property manager company collected in rent. 50%? That's wild. And retarded. You would extort for like 10 or 20%, right? 50%? Following that incident, the report says that video footage shows TDA gang members violently breaking into vacant apartments, kicking doors open, and moving Venezuelan immigrants into the empty apartments. The conduct's brazen and public nature further exhibits the suspected gang members' sense of comfort and control consistent with their taking over the property and not fearing the law enforcement or the property management. Investigators concluded that gang members have been extorting rents from residents that moved into vacant units. None of this has involved the police, or when it says investigators and reports, are these are police reports, or is this just like a law firm that's doing an investigation? The property manager further shared that TDA now uses the formerly vacant units to host parties where they serve drugs and child prostitution. The property manager apparently told the law firm investigators that minors are a good source of money. CBS News Colorado also obtained internal Aurora police documents from June that appear to support some of the law firm's conclusions. An officer reported responding to a call from a house cleaner at Whispering Pines. He said that she told police that she was threatened that she needed to give up the keys to the vacant apartment at the Whispering Pine Apartments so that a group of Venezuelans could move people into the Whispering Pine Apartments. The officer reported suspects left, but not before wanting her to comply or else they would kill her or her family. The Aurora officer wrote to fellow officers, "I would highly recommend you guys take 2 to 3 friends with you when responding to any calls there." Late Wednesday afternoon, a City of Aurora spokesperson confirmed that they had received the letter and immediately included in it its ongoing investigative work. The city spokesperson said Aurora police have been and will continue to aggressively investigate and pursue any criminal activity reported on or related to the Aurora apartment buildings that have been at the center of this controversy. The information and claims in the letter underscore why APD and other law enforcement agencies formed a special task force to investigate violent crime impacting migrants and other communities in the Denver metro area. Let's see. This was on September 5th. Updated on September 5th. Is that when it was originally posted? Today? This is August 30th. What is this? Aurora judge rules gang-fearing slumlord can wait until February to resolve charges away from jury. An Aurora judge has delayed the trial of Zev Baumgarten, the owner of a controversial apartment complex supposedly taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and will give him until February 14th to resolve dozens of charges stemming from outstanding code violations, according to court documents. According to records from the Aurora Police Department, Baumgarten is the owner of an apartment complex at 1568 Nome Street, good one, Fitzsimon's Place, that was shut down by the city on August 13th for outstanding code violations dating back to 2020, including rat infestations, backed up sewage, and pile-ups of trash. Hundreds of residents were evicted in the process. Baumgarten was scheduled for a jury trial in Aurora Municipal Court on August 27th to resolve 81 charges, and then had a second date on September 5th to deal with 24 charges he faced related to unlawful vehicles. According to an August 5th statement from Red Banyan, a Florida-based PR firm hired by CBZ Management, which ran Fitzsimmons Place, the complex had fallen into severe disrepair because the Venezuelan gang, Trende Aragua, had scared away its property managers. Fitzsimon's Place is also listed online as Aspen Groves, but according to Red Banyan, CBZ Management prefers to identify the property as Fitzsimon's Place. Okay, Jesus. Mayor Mike Kaufman referred to the owners of Fitzsimon's Place as out-of-state slumlords in an August 8th interview with Kyle Clark on 9 News. Before their eviction, residents told Westward that the location had mostly been home to Venezuelan migrants for the past year. The migrants had moved there after learning about open units from other migrants. According to Red Banyan, upwards of 200 people lived at the property when it was shut down on August 13th. The claims that Trende Aragua had taken over the apartment complex have put Aurora in the national spotlight with online videos supposedly proving the charge. However, both Denver and Aurora officials, including the mayors of both cities and Governor Jared Polis, flatly dispute the claims. CBZ Management, a company registered to Baumgarten, is the property manager for Fitzsimmons Place, along with 10 other properties across New York and Colorado, according to its website. 4 CBZ Management properties in Aurora have outstanding code violations, Aurora says, and residents from its properties in other parts of the metro area have complained about neglect as well. On August 13th, the same day as the mass eviction from the Nome Street complex, an Aurora Municipal Court judge granted an unopposed motion to vacate Baumgarten's jury trial, which pushed both court dates to a pretrial conference on February 14th, according to court documents. That pretrial conference will give Baumgarten and his lawyers a chance to resolve the charges with Aurora's prosecutors instead of in front of a jury. However, the case could still go to trial if neither party can agree on a resolution. Jesus. Okay, so the claim is that there are properties that are in disarray, and I can see the sides materializing. So one side is claiming that there are Venezuelan gangs that are bullying our property managers out, and they're fucking these properties up, and they're ruining our ability to rent anything out because they're like taking over. And then the other side is claiming these guys are actually slumlords. They neglect the fuck out of their apartment buildings, and now they're trying to blame some gangs on why they've let all of their properties fall into disarray. And they've got other properties that aren't here that are also like complained about by residents. This one got shut down. So what is the? What's the truth? The 11 Colorado properties that CBZ Management has listed online are in Aurora, Denver, Edgewater, Colorado Springs, and Pueblo. According to records from Denver, Arapahoe, and Jefferson counties, these CBZ properties are registered to various companies with names ranging from Five Dallas Partners to Edgewater Realty Partners and Gnome Partners. All of those companies are registered at 1644 Pennsylvania Street, Suite 100, according to the Colorado Secretary of State's. This is August 30th. Statement regarding Tren de Aragua. Oh boy, this is a police statement. The city and Aurora Police Department. Is this the same city where that crazy Batman shooter guy was shooting? Where is that guy? Couldn't they just send him in? Or did he kill himself or get killed? The city and Aurora Police Department, as we previously stated, established a special task force in collaboration with other local, state, and federal partners to specifically address concerns about Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, TDA, and other criminal activity affecting migrant communities. We are grateful that the Drug Enforcement Administration, a valuable federal partner, has acknowledged its ongoing work into TDA across the metro and appreciate the additional resources it provides to combat this issue. We are aware the components of TDA are operating in Aurora. APD, Aurora Police Department, has been increasingly collecting evidence to show the gang is connected to crimes in the area. However, as we have said previously, and as the DEA similarly stated, it would be improper at the time for the city and APD to make any conclusory statements about specific incidents. Based on our initial investigative work, we believe reports of TDA influence in Aurora are isolated. We urge all community members, including members of our micro communities, to please report crimes committed against them to their local law enforcement agencies and not remain silent victims. On August 30th, Interim Chief Heather Morris and several officers connected with residents at The Edge in Laurie Apartment at Dallas Street and 12th Avenue to offer reassurances, provide updates on criminal. We have received specific questions from the public about Jonardi Jose Pacheco Chirinos. Is that a racial slur? Also known as Cookie or a Galleta or Galeta. I don't know. We previously announced his arrest in connection to a July 28th shooting. We were able to confirm Pacheco Chirinos, 22, pictured here, is a documented member of Trende Aragua. The department is not aware of his status within the gang. He's currently in the custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. On July 28th, 2024, at about 4:30 a.m., APD officers responded to a report of shots fired outside of 1568 Elm. When they arrived, they found 2 adult males suffering from gunshot wounds. A 3rd adult male was found with a broken ankle. They arrested him after. APD had previously arrested him in March 2024 for an aggravated assault that happened in November in 2023. He later bonded out. He's been in ICE custody since his second arrest in July 28th. In the coming days, we'll provide more comprehensive. Okay. Okay. I feel like we just have to wait for more info to come out. I mean, so like basically the two sides are, the two sides to this are, yeah, there are gangs here that commit some crime, and a lot of Venezuelan people live here, but the apartment owners are slumlords and they're lazy as fuck, and they're just blaming the gang problem on why they neglect the fuck out of their buildings that get closed down. And so they're just like trying to scapegoat this, and that's why they hired a law firm to do all this instead of going to the police. And there aren't police reports for this, just law firm reports. And then the other side is saying there's been a mass takeover by Venezuelan gangs with organized crime that are kicking people out of the apartments and making it so that it's impossible to upkeep on these buildings. As for what's true, I don't know. Based on what I've seen of these very few stories, if it is the fact that the same property managers are being accused of neglecting other buildings in the city, then maybe they're just shitty landlords. They might just be shitty slumlord property managers that are trying to pawn shit off. But I mean, who knows? Anything could be possible. That video seems pretty spooky. Like, who knows? Who knows? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? I guess we'll find out. Oh no. Dean. $sign Schrader is now available for all of you on the $sign Tron chain. Really hope you guys don't miss out. Sorry to keep spamming this. Oh, but you're going to keep spamming anyway. But capital gains issues are that people borrow against the value of their assets instead of realizing them to skirt the tax, right? Well, then we simply implement a tax on loans taken against any asset that would have been subject to capital gains. Probably super rich people shouldn't get preferential. Isn't that like the suggestion I've given almost every single time I've brought it up, kind of? Hello.
Hey, Destiny, how's it going?
It's going. What's up?
I have a question. So, I saw your debate on Wick's panel.
Wait.
It was a pretty fun one. Yeah.
Can you give me a minute? I'll be back and then we can chat about this. Give me a sec, okay?
All right, 1 minute.
Hold on, I'll be back 1 second. Don't use any racial slurs to my audience while I'm gone, okay? Promise?
Okay, I'll try not to.
1 sec.
Well, chat, looks like no racial slurs are allowed. Conboy explains scalping. I don't know if I can, frankly. I thought I knew a lot about economics, but come to find out, I don't even know what inelastic or elastic means. plug the podcast, Sandwich Magic. Look, anyone who wants to watch Three Wonks or Live and Learn, they already know where to find it. All right, come on. Come on, guys. Let's be real here. I'm a pretty big deal in this here space. Call him a liar like Pisco. Look, I think Destiny is a liar. All right, he's been radical on the Supreme Court since day one, much like all Democrats. Competing with anything else is done? Do we compete with anything else? My goodness. I didn't realize anything else was a Wednesday night show. Conboy, Destiny said that corporate tax burden falls only on shareholders. Please red pill him. I don't know with what evidence he says that. It seems to fall on workers' capital and then also consumers. A mix of the three. I did see Trump endorse a sovereign wealth fund. That was look, guys, Trump cooked with that one. Now he did say he wanted to fund it with tariffs, which, as someone pointed out on Twitter, after getting rid of the income tax, tariffs got a lot of work to do. So I don't know if they'll have money for a sovereign wealth fund in the future Trump administration, unfortunately. Conboy, what's a sovereign wealth fund? It's only the most sensible policy yet enacted in America. It's just a publicly managed investment fund, essentially, and the returns to that investment fund are socialized through the government. Either typically would just support general government spending, or, the ideal might be to just send a cash check to Americans. Why is America doing so much better than Europe when it regards to inflation? I think, honestly, the more I look into Europe and degrowth in Europe, the more that I think that it basically just comes down to NIMBYs and how Europe has a much broader NIMBY problem than America does. And, it could just be, it's obviously a lot of things that lead to that being the case in Europe, but their incredible lack of ability to build anything or execute on investment does seem to be a big problem. Like the UK is a good example of a country that austerity and cutting public investment was doubly bad because private investment has a lot of trouble getting off the ground in the UK. And I think that's one of the reasons why their productivity has gone down so much, because they haven't been able to invest in, good capital for basically the better part of 15 years. And so it turns out making it really hard to build stuff is really bad for basically all reasons. Yeah. Conboy, so a sovereign wealth fund is UBI. A sovereign wealth fund could be the basis for a UBI, right? So, in theory, a sovereign wealth fund could return thousands of dollars per person. And so, you could get a sovereign, in theory, you could get a sovereign wealth fund that was able to pay out quite a lot. I think if you did the math on the Norwegian sovereign wealth fund, I think they have about $250,000 of assets per person. If you do a 3% withdrawal, that's like $7,500 per person. So that seems like a pretty big deal. Oh no, Rage Pope is being bad on sovereign wealth funds. I think there's an old video on my channel where we spoke about the limitations of sovereign wealth funds for a means to socialize the entire economy, which I would agree with. Obviously, I don't think you could socialize the whole economy with sovereign wealth funds necessarily, but certainly it does seem like really good policy. So, yeah. Rage Pope, you're being so dumb in the chat. Don't worry, we're literally just going to come up with the GDP of the United States to pay everyone out $7,500 a month. Well, obviously, this would be something that would happen, methodically over time, right? So I'm not sure if we could get a sovereign wealth fund of $100 trillion within a few years. But if you could invest a few $100 billion a year, obviously with capital accumulation over time and returns to the fund, you could amass a very, very meaningfully large fund within 20 or 30 years. And that's basically what happened in Norway, right? It was a slow, methodical process, but in the long term, it was a really good investment. Oh, Forethought wants to talk to me about the keys, gentlemen and ladies. I'm on Destiny's stream right now. Forethought, not watching Destiny's stream. Suspicious. If we just tax everyone an extra 5% per year, what are you talking about, Rage Pope? What are you talking about, my brother?
Don't get baited.
If
All
we
right, what's
tax,
up?
oh goodness. All right. Well, yeah. Rage Pope was baiting me. Anyway, all right, Destiny, about the Supreme Court. All right. So I watched your video, or no, I watched the panel you were on Wick, and I must have missed that you were all of a sudden in favor of, I guess, like strategically packing the court if you weren't able to get concessions to, amend the whole process of being put on the Supreme Court. But I feel like I was just interested in that journey. So I feel like a year or two ago, very staunchly against packing the Supreme Court, basically in all circumstances. What was like the big driver that changed your mind on that one?
The main point of disagreement that we had, principally, I still feel the same about, which is that I feel like packing the court is a bad idea because it kind of, I think it destroys the court. But the only thing that changed in my mind was that now I kind of feel like actually the Supreme Court's already been kind of destroyed. So in that case, if packing it or threatening to pack it is the only way to undestroy it, then I guess I'm on board with packing the court. I think packing the court is a fucking horrible idea. But if somebody wouldn't agree to what I would consider to be a very easy to accept change, that the Senate is forced to hear a Supreme Court nomination within some time period, then in that case, fuck it, yeah.
Well, what do you think about the argument that, so I would agree that there is sufficient evidence to say that packing the court, at least maybe, I don't know if you agree with this exact wording, but I would say that's a pro-institutional reform in and of itself, just because it seems like this conservative court is very willing to sort of radically reshape our institutions in many ways, right?
I mean, I think you have to be really, anytime you start talking about doing a thing because of like political stuff, I think you have to be very careful. Like, the Supreme Court is doing what the Supreme Court does. We might disagree with it, but we do heavily, but I mean, like, what is the argument, right? Like, if somebody says the Supreme Court, the Roe v. Wade decision was so bad, we have to pack the court to undo that. Like, we're kind of destroying the legitimacy of the court, right?
I mean, maybe. I've always felt that, I mean, there are probably certain, obviously in theory, I'd imagine that there's a set of decisions that the Supreme Court could come to that we would say, some sort of radical action obviously is needed, and packing the court might sound quite moderate in such a context. If the Supreme Court were to, if we just, crazy hypothetical, if the Supreme Court were to say, oh, for some reason murder is legal all of a sudden, we might say, okay, well, that's such a crazy opinion to come out of this court that it's just like not workable, right? We have to do something about it.
There is a process to impeach Supreme Court justices, right?
Well, you probably know much more about the history of that than I do.
Hello? Mm-hmm.
Consensus among a lot, and it seemed like the consensus among a lot of people who were criticizing Tim was that, yeah, he clearly just does not care about Ukrainian civilians being killed by Russia, or he's a Russian asset, you name it. Which is so frustrating because as someone who actually listens to Tim Pool's stuff, I know that he is hardline anti-war. Again, you don't have to think that he is right here, but to misinterpret his take as him thinking that civilian deaths and casualties are not a big deal, that is the exact opposite of what he thinks is the problem. And he did go on to clarify this, even though I don't think he should have needed to, on his own feed. He wrote, "They want to manipulate you into supporting intervention. They show crying translators, fake stories of valor, stock puppet accounts to troll you, keep crying, keep trying, and F your wars." He then, and it seemed like the consensus among—
Good one. Are you here yet? Hello?
I'm here? I don't know why I was summoned here. Why is Conboy here? Is this where we're supposed to be debating?
Are you guys debating?
Yeah, we're gonna go over Lichman. The keys guy.
I don't know where Conboy is.
Yeah, no idea.
Who just left? Hello?
That was him. Conboy just left. Also, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind if noise suppression turns itself on again. I'm not gonna get your stream banned.
Thank you.
All right, well, I guess he'll DM me whenever he's ready. I don't know why we'd be in here, but all right, peace out.
Well, what the fuck happened?
Bro, I don't know. I set up a debate with him on Twitter, and he's like, "Oh, I'm on Destiny stream." I'm like, "Okay."
Oh my god, maybe he saw you and he just dipped.
He ran just like all the rest. Classic. Are you enjoying the vindication?
Always, duh. But you know what's funny is in a week they're all going to be back to doing their same shit and no one's going to care, so.
You know, I don't know. This feels like a pretty big story. I'm not sure how big the impact will be, but I don't know. People going to jail, I feel like it at least puts some pressure on them to kind of get their shit together.
Yeah, definitely not. But we'll see. I think we need to wait for the election to end and for Trump to go away forever, and then we'll see what the Republican Party looks like after that. Everybody's waiting for that. Pray to God he loses. I don't know.
It's already over. The Keys guy called it.
Okay, true.
But I mean, for media personalities specifically, I feel like, I don't know, when you see people going to jail, you can't be as much a partisan hack.
Really? Donald Trump literally has, what, 33 felony convictions?
Yeah, and then he lost the White House, and then I guess it depends on where things go, assassination attempt, and then I guess in terms of when you look at Fox News, their coverage of the 2020 election is now very different after that Dominion lawsuit. So I feel like once things have material consequences, you kind of have to pull your head out of your ass a little bit.
We'll see. Well. I don't know why Conboy just disappeared. What the fuck?
Did you ever follow up on the Egon Cholakian guy? Have you confirmed that he's
apparently he's real. He just does really weird culty propaganda-y stuff. He's not in chat, so his internet probably cuxed.
Nice. Well, if we need to come, I guess, derail your stream, we'll be back.
Okay, have fun.
All right, peace out.
Wow. Oh, shit. Hello?
He's trolling at this point. He has to be.
Wow, this is a super epic meme.
Hold on, click on that Uridite thread. I want to see how unhinged it gets.
Wow, not bad.
You gotta scroll to the bottom. You gotta see what the schizos are saying.
Have you revealed yet that you're getting paid $400,000 a month to manage the subreddit?
From Mossad? No.
Whoops. Wait. 5 minutes, got to restart. 5 minutes? To what? Restart your computer?
Are you enjoying your new PC? Is it working as well as you'd hope?
No.
It's so fucked up, dude. It's unbelievable how fucking dog shit Windows is. I just started making a list of all the programs I have to use to replace just basic Windows functionality at this point. I'm gonna lose my mind.
It's not even that, like, it's not Windows, actually. Well, maybe it is Windows, but the issue is just, I just hate, I don't know why my Chrome is so laggy. It's just very annoying. I assume that having a $2,000 processor with a 25th generation everything and then a super GPU workstation card, I assume that, like, I could run 3 Windows with Chrome, but I guess that's just way too much to ask for. So
yeah, no.
Like on my YouTube broadcaster thing, I want to be able to middle click my mouse button, have that little arrow go to the side, and then left click to stop the scrolling. But I can't. Every time it's like frozen for like 3 seconds every time I do this. It's like insane. I don't know how. I don't know if it's DGG chat. I don't know if it's the YouTube streaming window or if it's Kick chat. But something is just so fucking laggy.
Yeah, I have no idea. Whenever I have games running, there's a risk that just Windows or not Windows, Chrome just crashes randomly. And I've started on my living room PC, I installed Firefox. I'm gonna try that weird fucking is it not Opera? That one gamer browser that's allegedly
Brave or something or Chromium?
I have no idea. I'm just tired of fucking dog shit Chrome. It's tilting the fuck out of me.
Okay.
A boy called Sue. It's my computer. Kill yourself. Actually, in real life.
I don't know. I can't do anything else with my computer, guys. This is a dank the fuck out computer. I'm using 13% of my processor right now. It's like a 9950X, whatever the fuck, XE. I don't know, whatever the new AMD chip is. I have 64 gigs of RAM. I'm using, I think, 3 gigs right now. Yeah, I don't know. Chrome is just it's a monster, I guess.
Yeah. The other day, I was playing Path of Exile and I had my filter. I tried to open it with Notepad. The Notepad just crashed, and then I just opened Notepad++. It opens fine. Dude, I don't know. I'm losing my mind.
I'm back.
Hi, what's up?
Hello.
All right, sorry. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you can impeach a justice basically just for disagreeing with how they rule, because you have to be a high crime or misdemeanor, right?
Well, what? I'm pretty sure impeachment can be done for any. I think you can just impeach whenever the fuck, right? Yes, you can. Impeaching Supreme Court. It's just to remove somebody from office or to remove them from their seat, right?
Well, I thought it was like for specific, high crimes and misdemeanors. You have to have at least, I guess, in theory, a credible reason other than just, I just don't like this person, right? At least that's how I've always thought about it, but maybe that's not true.
I think the other crimes might be there, but
I guess, well, like what crime is committed if it's just like, hey, we just disagree with what you, with what you're ruling, right?
Sure, I guess. Okay, wait, so what was the point of this? What are we talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious at what caused you to basically switch your mind on court packing, and I guess it just sounds like you think that the current composition of the court as a result of these illegitimate processes is just really bad, essentially.
No, I think that the fact that the composition is bad due to court seat being snatched from us, from the conservatives, is bad. But more than that, it's because of that. It's because of the snatched thing. If they had legitimately gotten it, then it's whatever. But more than that, I think Pisco brought this up, and I didn't believe him initially, or I just, because every time Pisco says something, I just want to fight against him because he's an annoying fucking loser. But I don't know if there's a guarantee that we would ever get a Supreme Court pick from a conservative Senate ever again. I don't think there's any guarantee about that. And I don't think that should be risked.
Yeah.
And I don't think if you stand in opposition to any bill that would crystallize the exact number of days that you'd have to be forced to hear like a nominee or an appointment or whatever, if you oppose that, fuck you. You deserve to have your court life destroyed.
Well, right, because it's like you're guaranteeing to be bad faith in the future.
Or you're just like, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. No, I understand. I mean, I guess, how do you feel, though, about the idea that this is not a, executing that threat, if it were to happen, would lead to this race to the bottom of Republicans wanting to nominate 5 justices in response, and you'd eventually end up with like a 1,000-person Supreme Court or something like that.
Yeah, it would just be. I just think it would be dumb. I think expanding the Supreme Court is a really good idea, but not for like the political reasons of like we need more liberals there. But I think the idea of having having like one Supreme Court justice per circuit or 2 per circuit that would allow them to dip down. I think that the idea of Supreme Court justices riding circuit, I actually really like that idea. I don't know why that stopped. Probably because the course load is too big. I think that should come back, and they'd be able to deal with a bigger caseload and everything too. I think that'd be cool to have like 26 or 24 Supreme Court justices. And it would ensure more like fluidity with the court as well, because there'd be more justices coming in and out all the time. I don't know. I think that'd be nice, but
yeah, I guess so. The simple suggestion that my co-hosts and I made on the 3 Wonks was basically just have the Supreme Court be a randomly drafted member of the federal bench, right? So it's like a different sort of random group of currently appointed federal justices. I don't know if this is actually a thing that could happen constitutionally, but I know that Supreme Court justices can still serve on federal benches after they retire. So I don't know if there's I guess a big conflict between the two, but
well, if you're retiring, it should be. If you're retiring, then it should be to be done being a judge. You wouldn't want to retire from being a Supreme Court justice to go back to being a federal court judge, right?
Well, I think I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that there have been, because I think when you're retiring as a Supreme Court justice, you can still actively serve in federal courts. And I think there have been Supreme Court justices that have retired from the Supreme Court, but they've still served on, federal, court cases, I guess,
have there
judging
been?
things.
Why would you want to do that?
I don't know. That's just what I read. I could be wrong, but that was my understanding. I want to say that the justice that Breyer replaced, I can't remember his name because obviously this was a long time ago. I think he did that.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm sorry, Forethought. You wanted to yell at me about the keys if you're here. All right, talk to me about it. Why are the keys bad?
Well, for a few reasons. I guess, first of all, why do you think they're good? Why do you think it's like a substantive model for predicting elections?
I think it's a substantive model because it's been right a lot more than it's been wrong, if you think that it's been wrong at all, which some people don't.
Well, how do you wait, real quick, not to debate before that thing, but just as a quick thing, how many like actually close elections has this guy called? Has it been like 3 or 4?
I'm so glad you asked.
Oh,
my God. You asked, Steven.
Since 1972, since we've started doing scientific polling, I believe 7 of the last 13 elections have been above 5 points in favor of the income of whoever. So it was obvious who was going to win.
Also, wait, he's only claimed to have made correct predictions from 86 onwards as well, not even 72. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. God. Okay, yeah. And then
he was
on top
84.
Of that, he will move the goalpost on what he's predicting. I had the Wikipedia page for the elections open. But anyways, basically to call like 80% of elections, you basically can flip a coin for those 5 or 6 close ones, and you can get that pretty trivially.
Yeah, I'll try to find. So I think this is true and not true. So I'm not of the position that this is gospel like some people. And I think there's credible arguments that he hasn't always been right. I haven't done the historical accounting myself, but like I've heard him make very strong statements about, people said I was waffling on popular vote, but that is just not true. I never did. And I'm like, okay, this seems like a strong statement, but maybe he's just lying. I'm honestly not sure. But overall, though, I think that this model seems to be a basic fundamental model for whether or not the incumbent's going to win. And in the article that somebody sent me, I thought they did an interesting analysis, and it seemed quite fair to Alan Lichtman, where they try to claim the same thing. But one thing that they do point out in that article is that the timing of his election predictions are very impressive a lot of the times. That he does, sometimes he'll make a prediction that are completely opposite the polls just because of this sort of stubborn model that he's produced. And sometimes he's right, even though the polls seem to indicate the exact opposite. So,
like what?
I don't know.
What's one election he's done that in?
Allegedly 2016, where he claimed that Trump would win, although he did say the popular vote.
No, not 2016. So I'm not talking about 2016. I'm desperately trying to find the article right now. I really am, because I thought it was an interesting article. Oh, here we go. This was an article that someone in my tweets replies responded with. I'll just post it in the chat here. And I think they call out the election of 1988. I want to say it was like, oh, at the time that Lichtman released his prediction, George H.W. Bush was down like 16 points in the polls. And I want to say maybe his 1984 election was impressive for maybe the same reason. Things like that. And then, I'm not sure about the historical accounting. Obviously, 2016, in one way or another, I mean, I've heard quotes where he didn't talk about the popular vote. He just said Trump's going to win, like, period. But some people say he actually predicted the popular vote, so he was wrong. I don't know. I mean, he said Trump was going to win, and he ended up winning. So I get, that's why he gets all the credit, I suppose. So
he did say he said his model predicts the popular vote, which Trump did not win. So yeah, fuck that guy. You don't get to claim you predicted 2016 when your prediction was like wrong according to your own standard. Ooh. But besides that,
oh no,
if this model were really accurate, how do you rationalize the fact that he is earlier predicting that Biden is going to win and Biden has now dropped out? How does that make any sense?
Well, if he never predicted that Biden was going to win, right? He just said that it would be a mistake for Biden to drop out because, he's like stubbornly adhering to his model. The keys, the incumbency key, it's a key. And so if Biden drops out...
He said Biden had more keys and would win the election.
Well, he said that...
wait, but now his claim is unfalsifiable, right? It's not that he's wrong.
Yeah, with the Biden claim specifically, I mean, my understanding was that he said that Biden had a good shot of winning, and the strict case for keeping Biden was that he would lose, the Democrats, I should say, would lose the incumbency key by not allowing, Biden to run, basically, right? And that's I think that's a very basic analysis, and something like that's a good example of how it's not necessarily meaningful because these categorical models, obviously, it's like, okay, well, people have asked Lichtman hypotheticals like, hey, well, what if a candidate punches a baby 1 week in a row on national TV, but they have the extra keys or whatever, are you still going to predict that they win? And he's always kind of sidestepped that and said, look, these keys are based on an ordinary political environment. Obviously, I can't really internalize if some sort of fantastical event happened, which I guess is fair enough. Obviously, this is a...
Hold on. I'm going to debate Pet Value a little bit because he does not say, I can't predict when there are unforeseen circumstances. He says every election is unique in its own way. And he goes to history to say, this historical event isn't that relevant. So he doesn't
Well, but he's talking about... I get what you're saying. He's not talking about... He's not saying that there aren't a such thing as sort of extraordinary events in politics. I'm specifically talking about when he gets asked like a very bombastic hypothetical where he says, what if something just preposterously bad happens, right? like the candidate, I don't know, some crazy thing happens with the candidate. Because people said the same thing about Biden. You're saying it's a mistake for Biden to drop out when it just so clearly seems not to be the case that it's a mistake. It seems like it's certainly going to improve the chances of the Democrats winning. And what he says is, look, in these ordinary political environments, this is a really useful model. In the case where some fantastical event happens, it's not going to be very useful, but, these hypotheticals aren't, oftentimes they're pretty fantastical.
Okay, so do you consider the circumstances around Biden dropping out and his debate performance, is that fantastical?
No, I wouldn't say. No.
So, do you think
Well, just to be clear, I think Biden... there's no telling how Biden would have done in the general election because I think that there are...
very easy to tell.
I really don't think it is because I think there are many reasons to think that although Biden certainly wasn't the optimal candidate, that he still had a clear path to victory.
He absolutely did not. I have so many notes on this if we want to go over that.
I'm not saying that the snapshot in time doesn't look bad for Biden. Obviously it does, right? But polls 6 months out, 5 months out are probably not... I mean, in any circumstance, probably don't have a great history, great track record of predicting who's going to end up winning because so much happens within 5 months. I mean, pollster after pollster will tell you that election season doesn't even really start until September.
Especially in this case of Biden versus Trump, because these were two candidates polling at their political floor. their polls were remarkably reliable. They were remarkably within the same 5-point window the entire election. They were not like the Hillary Trump campaign where they were bouncing all over the place, where there was 8-point gaps to 3-point gaps. It was just the same 39% versus the trending down 40%. They had name recognition. They were both known presidents. The idea that you cannot predict, that this would have some unforeseen circumstance boosting Biden in, I don't know, come November. I have no idea what mechanism that would be. I can't fathom.
Well,
especially when you can't campaign.
Well, again, you're just looking at the polls, right? So I mean,
yeah, they're the closest thing I have to measure reality.
Well, right, but obviously, much like Alan Lichtman's model, the polls are susceptible to being wildly incorrect based off of
how wildly. Let's get to numbers. These are polls.
Okay, so you're asking me for specific examples, or you have specific examples?
Wait, polls for what? Which polls are we talking about?
Hold on. I'm gonna do some debate pedophilia.
All right, go for it.
How much do you think the polls were off by in 2016?
I mean, it depended on the state. Largely, it seemed like
election day. How off were the polls?
So again, it's going to depend on the state. The national election polls were quite tight and seemed to pretty accurately reflect the national popular vote. But there seemed to be statewide.
What do you think the percentage was that the polls were off? Because they cannot predict the Electoral College.
So I've already said the national polls were quite close. I don't think those were far off at all. Now, when it comes to the state level polls, I think that there were certain states that were pretty far off. I think Wisconsin was one of them. Very far off election result versus the aggregate polling of the election day. I think Michigan was 3 or 4 points off the aggregate polling versus election day. I think that Pennsylvania was 2 or 3 points off aggregate polling versus election day. And this was sort of the blue wall surprise that happened on 2016, because the polls seemed to indicate that Hillary was very strong in those areas, but it turns out she was maybe more weak than she thought.
Okay, so the polls were off by 3.1% in 2016, which I think is pretty remarkable for how much people say the polls are off.
What do you mean the polls were off? Is this an aggregate of every poll on election day, or what?
Yes,
I don't even
know.
The
national polls, because they can't measure the Electoral College. I'm not going to go state by state because state polling is much more difficult. And so basically, the only way they can check their accuracy is to check against the actual national result. And they were off by 3%. The typical...
I don't know. I have no idea what you mean when you say we can't look at the state poll errors, so we have to reference the national poll. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the explanation.
Yeah, sure. So there are two separate measurements. One is which candidate was predicted to win the election based on the polling, and were the polls, in terms of when people said, I would vote for this candidate instead of that candidate, were those largely correct? And when it's done on a national scale, you have to average the numbers out and see, okay, hey, the polls were off plus or minus this percentage, because they cannot predict whether or not Wisconsin is going to be a flipping point or whether or not Pennsylvania is a flipping point. However much that error is, where it manifests is less relevant than the overall accuracy of the polling, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how that has to, I don't know how that necessarily,
Okay.
I mean, I agree the polls weren't it wasn't an unbelievable miss. It's just that if you take 2 to 5 point polling error in all these key swing states, it was a very close election by the numbers.
Yeah.
It's just that's what made the difference in winning. And the Biden polls compared to the Trump polls in 2020, obviously they were super duper tight, right? But I'm just speaking historically, polls 5 or 6 months out aren't typically very predictive of where it goes. I agree with you that Biden probably didn't have as much upside potential as Harris, right? And if Harris wins a squeaker in 2024, that's just another piece of evidence. Hey, it was probably the case that Biden was headed towards losing this election. I was on the side of Harris replacing Biden because I thought it was probably a better strategic move. But no, I just don't think it's. I don't think it's the most unreasonable political take where Alan Lichtman parrots it because of his keys. Hey, I think it's a mistake to get rid of your incumbency advantage. I think even Destiny was, Destiny was Biden's strongest soldier, basically saying the same thing, presumably for different reasons, because it wasn't the keys, but Destiny had his own reasons.
They were both wrong. Destiny and Lichtman, both wrong. Biden was fucked.
Wow.
But
Cringe.
My point is that polls are relatively accurate and that they are one of the best tools we have to be able to predict elections. Unless Lichtman is able to make some prediction 5 months out, which he can't, and if he's wrong, he'll just walk it back. I don't see a reason to take him seriously. And one thing I will push back heavily on is this idea.
Well, he has done that though, to be clear, right? Like he's historically predicted like months away from the election. I mean, obviously his prediction's coming 2 months away now. It's been 1 to 3 months away, but sometimes he'll predict like, years in advance.
Yeah, that's really easy to do when you're like in the Reagan administration and he's up by like 30 points. Like anyone can do that. That's part of the problem. Like a lot of these elections are not close at all. So they're trivial to predict.
Well, again, I've talked about there's examples of him releasing his predictions at a time when the polling was like very much opposed to his current outlook from his prediction, right? It's like predicting George H.W. Bush a win when he's down 10-15 in the polls, and then he ends up winning, right? So it's just not, I just don't take the criticism of like, he only ever predicts it correctly because it's just like obvious, like most of the time.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like he has this the backstop of a bunch of obvious, easy predictions, and then in a field of various people trying to make predictions and prediction models, if he just is lucky, just a little bit lucky, winning a coin flip 3 out of 5 times, he's considered largely accurate. My point more broadly is that polls are largely fairly accurate, and they reflect reality much, much better, especially in the moment, and have much more predictive power than people give them credit for. And people conflate election models with polling, and the polling has largely been incredibly accurate, especially given the circumstances. And they do not accurately criticize polling when it's wrong, and even when it's more wrong than before. The polling error in 2020 was much larger than it was in 2016, but no one cares because Biden won.
Well, I think I've represented a pretty tight view on polling. Like, I don't think that 2016 was in many regards, it was an unbelievable polling error. I mean, I don't know. Just looking at some of these statewide polls were just, pretty extreme, I guess.
Yeah, there was some goofy shit happening for sure.
Spread. Yeah, and so, but I'm not saying they were off by 20 points or something, or it was just like so obviously the case that Hillary's going to win. She was a clear favorite, but it wasn't, an Obama-like, performance headed into 2008. I agree that polls are accurate as we get closer and closer to the election day. That's just naturally that would be the case, obviously. Polls day of tend to be pretty accurate. That was what was anomalous, I guess, in 2016.
He's tremendous fraud here. If you look at, wait, just 1 second. If you look at 10 o'clock in the evening, you saw what happened.
Oh, fuck, I forgot. Excuse me. Never mind. Keep going. I was just trying to work.
No, you're good, bud. So, yeah, obviously polls day of tend to be pretty accurate. Prediction market day of tend to be pretty accurate. But I think that, Lichtman's model is just something that's been seemingly confirmed to be at least a useful heuristic, a useful sort of sanity check for, the national environment. If you look at basic fundamental things like, what he has in the keys, that's all. I mean, I'm looking mostly at the polls. It's like, oh, it's interesting that Lichtman predicted Harris would win.
Okay.
But it would never surprise me if Lichtman turns out to be like very definitively and publicly wrong one time. I
feel like that's, how do you square the fact that the polls were predicting that Biden was going to be a disastrous candidate with a horrific loss in the general election, and then he drops out, and then Lichtman is saying Biden is a strong candidate who will win the election because he has various keys?
I don't understand. You're asking, why
is a candidate that is strong in his model dropping out? And how is he not predicting that a candidate that is going to drop out, which is truly unprecedented? How is his model unable to predict that or see that?
Well, my understanding was that Biden himself, really didn't seem to want to drop out, right? Like, he was pressured by everyone around him. Now, Lichtman will say he'll actually make this is obviously ridiculous, I think. He'll make the claim that, Biden's actually quite familiar with the keys, and he knows them very well, right? And it's like, I don't really know if... I'm sure he has a copy of your book somewhere, but I don't think Biden is really consulting the keys that much.
His campaign team did reach out to them with little key videos. It was very copium.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I don't. Maybe he did take him really seriously. I mean, I'm not really sure, but I do know that at least he himself felt like he had a strong shot of winning. I don't agree with that, right? I don't really think that. I don't think Lichtman's analysis is correct. That's one of the limitations of his, categorical model is that, these binary sets of rules without being able to take in sort of what the full context of those keys are. That's like obviously a limitation of his model. He just has a model that he fitted to historical presidential elections, and then he's sort of, on a go-forward basis using that model to predict the outcome of the elections. That's how he developed the model, and it's proven to be decently robust. That's really all I've ever said about it. I just don't think it's like a totally meaningless piece of information when it comes to analyzing your current state of the election, essentially.
Okay. So
that's all. I mean, I mostly watch the polls as well. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how he's not like a laughingstock for predicting that like Biden is the stronger candidate, and then they have to drop out because he's losing in the polls and was going to lose the election. I don't know how that makes sense.
If you
model.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what are we? Hold on. Wait, real quick. Wait. What are we? Are we confused for why he would drop out if the keys predicted he would win?
Yes, if the keys were correct and they like represented a relationship with reality.
Wait. Why did Biden drop out of the? Why did Biden drop out?
Because he was losing the election.
No.
Yes.
No. Biden dropped out because the people around him thought he couldn't win. That's why he dropped out.
Internal party pressure.
Because he was losing. His internal campaign polling showed that. If he was going to win, if he had really strong internal polling, I bet you he'd be in right now. He was going to Litchfield.
There's no way.
Well, just hold on, because you guys have to be. This is just a factual. You're either right or wrong. There's no subjective interpretation of this. Okay, Biden dropped out because there was pressure from the party for him to drop it because they thought he couldn't win. Right. That's why. I don't know. I don't know.
Pressure coming from where is that pressure generated from?
From the Democratic Party, from people.
Why?
Because they feel like he couldn't win the election.
Why did they feel like he couldn't win?
Could have been a combination of internal polling. It could have been a combination of vibes. It could have been a combination of anything. I don't know. I'm sure they had their reasons, right? A lot of people felt that way, no?
Yes. And I think they felt that way because the polling showed he was going to lose.
Okay, but the keys or whatever, fuck me, I don't want to defend the keys, but the keys don't show you, does your party think that you can win at every stage of the election up to the election? That's not what the keys
Parties
are.
exist to win elections. That's their whole point.
Do you think the majority of the Democratic Party believes in the keys?
I don't think anyone believes in the keys except like online pundits.
So then why would we expect the keys to predict this?
Because the keys claim to be a good model of predicting election outcomes.
They predict who would win the election, right?
Yes, they predict election outcomes.
Well, those are kind of different things. Hold on.
Wait. What forethought is saying?
No. Whatever you're about to say, shut the fuck up. What forethought is saying is he doesn't understand what the prediction being made is. Would you make the same claim if Biden was assassinated?
You're a dumb fuck.
I didn't hear what you said.
If Biden was assassinated, would we make the same claim?
No.
Because the keys don't predict the outcome of the election. They predict who they think will win the election, right? Assuming that you make it to the election and everybody votes, right? If he gets assassinated right now, we wouldn't say like, well, why didn't the keys take into account that he'd be so unpopular he'd be assassinated, right? No. So obviously, most of the Democratic Party, most people probably don't believe in the keys. They probably don't trust that model very much. And so they dumped him in favor of another candidate. Okay. It's still possible, though, because of how the keys predict it. Maybe Biden would have beaten Trump. I mean, we don't really know that. It's impossible to know, right?
Yeah. Question. If instead of assassinated, the Democratic Party ran a hostile primary and Biden lost votes in that hostile primary, would you say like the keys prediction is terrible because they couldn't predict that he would lose a contest of votes?
No, because the keys doesn't claim to be able to predict who would win a primary, right? It's a different thing. That's a totally different contest.
So would you say that a primary doesn't have any predictive power over an election? Because I feel like those two things are directly connected, and if Biden is a strong candidate, there's no primary to begin.
If I were to even grant that primaries have predictive powers over the election, you have to literally kill yourself because Kamala Harris got obliterated in the Democratic primary in 2020.
No, I know exactly why. Yeah, it is a different environment now. She was
that
a bad
different
candidate then. Yes, extremely. There's no BLM movement. She doesn't have to pivot from being a prosecutor. Now, her being a prosecutor is a massive benefit because she's running against a felon.
Do you think that these are driving do you think that her being a prosecutor was the driving thing that made her not win last time?
It was a huge issue that she could not go on her record as a prosecutor, which was probably her biggest strength both as a politician and as someone running as a Democrat.
Do you think that right now? Do you think it's a huge strength that she's a prosecutor? That's why people are supporting her.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think over 1 trillion percent disagree.
I think it is a huge advantage around moderates that they cannot say like Democrats are pro-crime, because it's obvious that they're not. It makes no sense. It's a nonsense attack. It's why they can say, oh, she wants to open the borders and let everyone out of prison, but it's obviously not the case. She lost actually, she didn't even lose by that big of a margin. I don't know why I'm giving that to you. She was, I believe, second only to Biden.
Polling at like 1% when she dropped out. She was not polling. Why'd she drop out? Forethought. If her polls were so bad,
why did Biden pick her as VP?
I think that she had advantages as VP. I just don't think that this analysis is.
No, she was considered very. It was her and Biden, and who's. I'm trying to remember who's third. Fuck, I have the polling somewhere. But my point is,
I think at the time of dropping out, I think that it was Biden and then Bernie.
Yep.
And it was like a mix of Bloomberg and Warren, I think, competing.
Bloomberg dropped out way before Harris.
Harris dropped out before Iowa, and Bloomberg dropped out after Super Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
That sounds right, yeah.
Look it up,
I think it
brother.
might even been Pete might have even been up there.
Pete and Klobuchar dropped out right before Super Tuesday.
Yeah, it wasn't Warren because I think Bernie, because I remember the meme of like Bernie versus the triumvirate of like moderate candidates, and it was like
the liberals conspired to all drop out and endorse Biden.
You might be remembering Harris was super popular after one debate where she almost torpedoed Biden on the on the busing issue. She got a huge surge of popularity after that, but then she bled all of that off over the coming weeks.
That's right.
And then she was just nothing. She couldn't recover at all. Yeah.
That's right. I think that the only candidate to lead in the national polls at any point in the primary besides Biden was, I think, for a very brief moment, the national polling had Elizabeth Warren aggregately up on Biden. And Kamala was never particularly competitive for a sustained period of time.
Okay. I'll let you guys gaslight me on this, but...
What? Did anything we just said was wrong? We're spitting facts, Forethought. Google them.
I just said...
You said Kamala dropped out after Bloomberg.
I just said I'll let you guys gaslight me on this. I'll look it up later. But this is totally sidetracked. The main thing is that these two systems of measurement, these keys and polling, are meant to predict elections. Yeah, I already said I'm going to let you gaslight me. You can take the W.
We're gaslighting you. That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So the point is, these two models are allegedly some way to predict the strength of a candidate. And I would think that if a candidate is strong within one of these systems, that it would be reflected throughout the election. Like, it would be very strange for... I'm trying to think of a good example. But, like, I wouldn't rely on a model that predicts a candidate to be assassinated. Like, that would be very weird to predict and expect. It might be accurate, it might not be. But it should, I would think... If I was measuring the strength of a candidate, I would be able to see that reflected in reality. Like, I guess that's my fundamental disconnect. If Biden is strong in these keys, why isn't he strong enough to stay in the race? Like, if he's strong enough to win the election, why isn't he strong enough to stay in the race? I don't know I don't know how that makes sense.
Again, it doesn't. I'm not saying it does make sense. It's just that it's a natural limitation and a perfectly fine criticism of any categorical model, right? I remember I wrote a paper when I was in undergrad. It was a categorical model predicting whether or not Maduro would be able to stay in power, because he had recently became president after Chavez died, or maybe there was an election coming up, maybe his first presidential election. And I created a categorical model based on other oil-rich developing countries, and it had, I think, 3 rules. And this was before I knew about Lichtman. This was just a standard, consulted my professor about it. He said, categorical model, these things, exist or whatever. And I used that, predicted maybe a year or two in advance, Maduro would stay in power. He ends up staying in power, right? It's a little bit confounding how that could be the case, obviously, because the walls were closing in on him. But, these basic assumptions that I made turned out to be correct, and the fundamentals were pretty strong. And this is no different, but it's ultimately open to criticisms like yours, where it's just clear that Biden wasn't a strong incumbent, but we're giving him an advantage for being just like for the fact that he is an incumbent, right? So that's a clear limitation of the model.
Even
obviously,
even in that, in like, all right, there's 2 points. One briefly is Jet. This key system is party agnostic. Why isn't he applying it everywhere? And why isn't it predicting all these presidential elections?
Well, number one, I think that it's reasonable to say that at least the way that he developed the model, it was for the purpose of predicting U.S. presidential elections. And the assumption that he made probably at the time that he was making the model is probably fair, which is just that no one country's politics is probably going to be exactly the same as another's, right? Like the nature of electing a president is just like foundationally different in so many different countries. No other country.
None of his keys go into that at all.
His keys go into what?
None of his keys touch like any sort of mechanics specific to America, like other than maybe no third party.
Well, yeah, but you might have circumstances where, like in another country, other things are more historically relevant than others. Right? The way that Lichtman developed this was he just looked at the things that were historically relevant to U.S. presidential elections.
Okay.
Backwardated it to
I think it's based in American history. And that's fair.
Right. So all these countries have different histories and natures of their presidency. But anyway, that's all. I don't think Lichtman is like, people claim, Lichtman is he's a fraud and has no idea what he's talking about. It's like he's a history professor at Georgetown. Like, I'm sure he's a smart guy. He just really believes in this weird little model he came up with. And this model happens to be, at least decently accurate at predicting presidential election outcomes.
Okay. Last point against this model. The incumbency advantage has just been fading more and more throughout presidential elections. It really only applies to wide House races and Senate races. I don't. Oh God.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to get into it. That's a numbers debate.
He's about to ult.
I'm not going to ult. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. Yeah, I just, I'm sure that Lichtman will have very little attention from now until November, now that his prediction is out. And,
wait, why do you say he keeps making accurate predictions? When he's wrong, he moves the goalpost.
You didn't really touch on that, I don't think.
Yeah, on the goalpost moving?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't count that against him.
I mean, I do think it's credible to say that he was wrong in his prediction, or at the very least, like, he's muddied the waters significantly on that issue. I haven't done the historical accounting. I've mentioned that before. So it could be the case that I looked into this and read all of his books or whatever the fuck. Maybe I would come down more on his side or someone else's side. But I've always said, like, even if you grant that his model was wrong in 2016 and 2000, it's still 85% accurate model or something like that, right? So still seems at least decently useful, again, as just a basic sanity check.
Okay. Gotcha. Anything else?
Anything else? I don't think so. Thought it was good talking.
All right. Good talk, guys. Later.
Be
All
careful.
right. See you guys.
See ya.
Wait.
He said fraud staring you.
Wow. Man, that was a heated debate, guys. Fuck, I should have outsourced this to you. I need to utilize next time. I'll utilize you guys better and. Or actually, you know what? Fuck it. I can utilize you guys right now. Fuck it. I don't have to do the rest of this. Hold on. What account am I logged into over here? I think Nathan. On page 51 and onward, can you find me video footage of every claim and then, or of every debunk, plus every time Trump repeats the claim on the right and left? Otherwise, I'll get it done eventually. Digging through and finding like the actual videos on all this is fucking annoying. Okay, what is this? I heard Hasan is being unhinged. Is this true?
Content to them.
The founders of Tenet Media, though...
He was claiming it was vindication for him that they were revealed as Russian assets. How can he claim that it's vindication for him when two of the people that were the main person who was like the Russian asset and also the another person in the indictment who was also a Russian asset are both people that he's tried to rehabilitate and like aligned with as a fucking friend?
Even if what he's saying is true, even if what he's saying is true, I don't know. Did I ever try to rehabilitate Lauren Chen? What is? It doesn't even make sense. What?
I mean, his sycophantic fan base are not normal people anyway. So ultimately they don't give a shit. Just like they don't give a shit that he did a fucking NFT shill. Okay? Like, inconsistency.
What other? Divorce? What else can we bring up? Oh my God.
Is not a thing for a person like Destiny who claims to be the most consistent moral authority online.
That is, I do claim that. Okay? Yes.
That's precisely the reason why it's fucking ridiculous when he will talk a lot about like the term cracker being a fucking anti-white
we're going to the cracker discourse?
Racist slur and then simultaneously say the N-word openly. Okay?
Openly.
And his followers don't give a shit either because they're nihilistic edgelords who just want to, you know, win arguments, even if it's just for a brief moment.
He repeats this over and over again. Like both can be slurs and both can be whatever. I've said this a million times. I don't know why he. Oh, I know why. It's because he has to lie to his audience, but because I have to be literally Volta Hitler to these people.
Anyway. Yeah, Mr. N-word Ellie.
What a hilarious N-word Ellie. True. Epic. Based.
It's also fucking ridiculous because
I
remember the NFT shill. You were at Twitch event in like 2022 when it did. He did it. One of the rare times back then where you would bring up D.
How many years ago was the NFT thing?
Fucking fan base, his racist ass fan base looks like when the guy was like, I'm shaking.
Who had these influencers on their books were told by the Russians the position to take on some issues, according to the indictment. The Russian Foreign Ministry today described it as an assault on free speech.
We've got everywhere in chat from 2 years to 5 years ago. Okay, what is this?
But let's get back to making fun of Tim Pool, who, by the way, in many respects is straight up no different than Drew Pablo. That's the thing that you need to...
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. Hasan is probably feeling the heat because he realizes that he does the Russian talking point thing. I'm meaning that like, oh, he's not going to pay for it. But Hasan might be feeling some heat. Maybe. I don't watch his shit right now. I haven't watched his shit in forever, but I haven't been sent anything from him right now. Of him being accused of like doing the same talking points, but maybe since all those memes are flying around Twitter with us saying Hasan does it for free, maybe he's feeling the heat to try to separate himself out from these guys. He's like, well, I'm not like these guys. Actually, Destiny's like these guys. These guys are actually like Destiny. That's my guess. That's why he's trying so hard to separate us out. Maybe?
But let's get back to making fun of Tim Pool, who, by the way, in many respects is straight up no different than Drew Pablo. That's the thing that you need to understand. Him and Drew are the same. Tim Pool and Destiny are the same. It's just who they get paid by as mercenaries is different, okay? That's the major difference. And they fucking hate that they can't fucking call me out in a similar fashion. They hate it.
Call who out for what? I don't think anybody... I don't call Hasan over getting paid by anyone because I don't think anybody would. You already make a fuck ton of money on Twitch. Like, you're a part of the... Like, you are just a copy-paste of the current cultural communist Zoomer zeitgeist. And as soon as it ends, you will be forgotten. Nobody will remember you, and you'll retire because you won't be able to handle having less than 10,000 concurrent viewers. You'll want to kill yourself. Like, that's all you are. Like, I don't think anybody has to pay you for that. I don't think I've ever made the accusation that Hasan does get paid. I don't think he does. Why would I want to call you out for it? Like, you're stupid all on your own, dog.
Okay? That's the major difference. And they fucking hate that they can't fucking call me out in a similar fashion. They hate it. For many of them, they also obviously are aligned with American State Department interests and pro-NATO sentiment. So,
to be clear, I am aligned with American State Department interests because the American Department of State is part of the American government, and which is part of the country of America, and I am an American citizen. Yes, I am indeed aligned with my country's interests. That is true. I'm a U.S. citizen. What? Yeah. What is that supposed to be, like a massive fucking own? Yes, correct. I do generally align with the policies and the international presence of my country. That's correct. Like you do as well, Chief. You realize that you're a family of all the countries in the world they could have immigrated to. They brought your fucking retarded ass here in the United States for opportunity, right?
With American State Department interests and pro-NATO sentiment. So these kinds of DOJ investigations will never be conducted on who pays them.
What a lying fuckboy piece of shit. On who pays them? Is that gross negligence? God, fuck. I wish I had like a whole legal lawyer retainer team. Just for memes, I would defamation him. Fuck, I need a meme lawyer who lives in California who wants to do it. Let's file the papers. He knows I'm not getting paid by fucking Israel. It's a retarded accusation. It's so stupid. Fucking email me, okay? But you have to charge less than $400 an hour, okay? I'm not paying no $800 an hour defamation bullshit, okay? You gotta have some reasonable fucking rates, all right? And I'm not gonna pay you to watch Hasan videos all day either. So if you ask me to email you 50 links for you to watch and get paid $400 an hour to watch them, I'm not doing that either. I know your tricks, motherfuckers, all right?
If there was obviously a real karmic justice out there or any sort of real lawfare out there, real rule of law out there, they would be treated in the exact same way that journalists were treated for defending the Holocaust.
What? What? Oh, because Gaza genocide, supporting Israel means I'm defending the new Holocaust, which, okay, my bad. That was easier than I thought to link it there.
Okay? For their consistent support of Israel's genocide.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
They would be
It took me a while. His things are so fucking stupid. And I'm trying to think of like, are you comparing me to like Nazi propagandists during World War II? But then I had to remember, oh, it's Hasan Piker, okay? This guy is a fucking retard. What am I thinking? I need to go back to retard points. And then I'm like, okay, retard words. Well, what do we got going on? Israel, genocide, apartheid. Oh, it's just the Gaza shit. It's genocide. I remember now. Okay, my bad.
Defending the Holocaust. Okay? For their consistent support of Israel's genocide, they would be tried in the exact same manner that members of the media were tried during the Nuremberg trials. To me, there is...
Are you okay?
No difference between Tim Pool and Death.
You know what this makes me think? Is he still doing like 35K viewers or whatever? This makes me think he's view botting. How can he be this like insecure? He always comes after me. It's whenever I have over 10K concurrent viewers. It's like clockwork. Because if I do a bunch of boring shit for a long time and I'm just like doing research, he won't mention my name. He won't say anything. And then as soon as I start to go over 10K, I should be doing more J6 work. But I know that if I can just stream and do random bullshit and get over 10K, I know that Hasan's going to be talking about me over and over. It's just funny to watch him lose his mind. I wonder if he started viewbotting here. Because now he like nails over 30K pretty easily and pretty consistently. I can understand for a bit when big events are going on. I wonder if he's viewbotting. And now this is him like lashing out because he's starting to feel like super threatened maybe. I don't know. Jesus.
During the Nuremberg trials. To me, there is no difference between Tim Pool and Destiny in that regard. There is no difference between Tim Pool and Drew Pavlov in that.
Doesn't Tim Pool align with Hasan when it comes to Israel? Wait, like what is Tim Pool's position on the genocide right now? Hold on. Wait, what? I don't even know. Tim Pool, genocide, Israel. Oh, maybe not. Tim Pool thinks Palestinians should embrace oppression. The majority report, the majority report, the majority report. Wait, Israel is more evil than Hamas 11 days ago. Hasan's insane take and Tim Pool lies okay now. Fuck, it's all the majority report. Oh my God, they cover a lot of Tim Pool. Tim Pool, Israel, war. How do progressives not see the anti-Semitic conspiracy overlap and alt-right neo-Nazism? Accusing people they disagree with are owned by Israel is wild. More like based. Fuck, let's see what they cover here, I guess. I don't know what they'll even say.
Actually, just because this will be my second crack at having fun, at least.
Killed? They said, and I can give you a source on that.
As you know, we've been saying for days, move south. Civilians are not involved with Hamas. Please move south.
Just trying to get a little bit more information. You knew there were civilians there. You knew there were refugees, all sorts of refugees, but you decided to still drop a bomb on that refugee camp attempting to kill this Hamas commander. By the way, was he killed?
I can't confirm yet.
I mean, Wolf could have just let him answer the question. Then he just jumped to another one. We get the point. Israel says they carried an airstrike at Hamas.
Sorry,
killed more than 50 people.
again, like Tim adding bullshit there that is not really.
They didn't even listen to the clip. Fuck. Let me make fun of Tim.
The hospital, and many on the left, pro-Palestinian groups and left, lied about the hospital. So when stories like this come out, what am I supposed to do?
I don't know about the hospital, frankly. I'm not sure that the story has really been debunked.
Well, it has. They claimed the hospital was leveled and 500
Okay, well, the hospital wasn't leveled. They hit the parking lot.
Yep, and it may have been a couple dozen injured with a certain.
No.
But there's
he fights against the Al Ali hospital misinfo. These guys still probably. Oh wait, this was 10 months ago, November 2nd. Was Tim Pool in it? Fuck, I haven't listened. Have I listened to Tim Pool do Israel-Palestine? Maybe not. Maybe I've just been RFK shit. Fuck, I don't know. I'm too lazy to go through all of his VODs and find out, but okay. Let's find out. Or let's listen to the rest of us on.
Pool and Drew Pavlov in that regard. The only benefit is, for them, they're not going to get fucking called out in the same way that Tim Pool is getting called out. That's part of the reason why they fucking hate me. Okay? That's it.
I will do it, okay? I will do it. Defamation, civil litigant, California. If you think it's a winnable case, okay? Email me. All right, what do we got? Connections. Bash, bag, color, sack, reception, blowout, land, pan, cut, blast, yard, score, slam, snag, trim, and attempt. This is some football shit. I can feel it. Like things used in football? Wait, maybe not? Oh, fuck. There's a lot of sports shit in here. I'm getting mind fucked. Like a sack, a score, yards. No, hold on. I'm getting fucked. I'm getting mind fucked. Don't get. No. Don't get mind fucked. Okay. Wait. Putting things in something. You can you can bag it, you can sack it, you can pan something? Cut, blast, yard it, score it, trim it, attempt it, snag it. Or you can snag an item. You can grab something. You can snag, bag, sack, pan. No. Trim, blast, yard, cut. Cut, trim, reject things. You can cut something, you can trim something, it's panned, you pan something, you can blast something, yard, score, slam, snag. Ooh, this is going to be a one-off and it's going to be blast. Just kidding, I don't want to fuck me. Okay, just kidding. Slam. A body slam. Body bag. Body score, body snag, body blast, body cut. Reception, body bash. Slam. Fuck. Physical contact, like hitting people. You can bash them. You can sack. You can land a punch. You can slam them. No shot. Oh my God. Reception. A wedding reception, a wedding blowout, a wedding bash. Okay, you can have a blowout, you can have a yard, attempt, score, blast, slam, trim, pan, bag. Shopping bag, shopping blowout, shopping attempt. Pan. You could land a sale. You could land a deal. Oh my God. Reception. Can have a blast. Color it. You could color somebody's perception. Oh, fuck. Color TV. Snag TV. Cut TV. Bash TV. A bash script. Trim. No. Blowout. Reception sack. Hacky sack. Hacky trim, hacky score, hacky bag. Body slam, body bag. Body yard. A trim for your haircut. Things you could do to your hair. Color it, you could trim it, you could cut it. You could bash your hair, bag it. Can you put a bag on it if you're like coloring it? You could sack it, reception it, or blow out it, land it, pan it, blast it. Can you blast your hair? Yard it, score. Oh, scoring is like cutting. Do you score hair? Do you snag? Can you snag hair? Is that like a thing? Like a hair snag? Oh no. Color it, cut it, trim it. Oh, a blowout. Is that when you use... Oh my God, okay. Okay. A yard? Your backyard, back slam, back. Wait, like things with your body, and then a thing like your backyard, your body slam, your ball sack, your. This can't possibly be it. It's not possible. A warm reception, wedding blast, wedding pan score, attempt. Land bag, you bag something. You snag something. You land something. This has to be a thing. No, not sack it, blast it, yard, score. You score something. Land bag. You bagged. You snagged it. I think, did I already try this? Fuck me, dude. Kill me. Oh my god, you obtain. Oh shit, okay. Okay, come on, we can do this. The reception. It's got to be shit in football, right? Like the receive, like you're receiving the ball, reception, yard, an attempt, a field goal attempt, something, how many yards, next down, I don't know. Slam. And you're like, you sack. What is this? Bash, blast, pan, slam, asked, ash, reception, yard, sack, attempt. Receptions, yards, sacks, field goal attempts. Are these like things on a football scoreboard? Would these even be on? I have no idea. Bash, slam, blast, and pan. Something for gold? Can you pan for gold? Blast like mining? I have no idea. Body bash, body pan, body blast? I don't know. Good luck. Measured in football stats. Okay, I don't know what the fuck this is. Criticize. Oh, yeah, I guess. God damn it. $8:57. Do we have time to do this? Daily, let's go. Quick ones. We're going to do a quick one. We're going to do a quick one here. South America, football, oranges, cherries. The gathering of the cherries. I have no fucking idea what the fuck this is. Mexico City? This is some football bullshit, and I don't know. Don't know, and I don't care. Don't know, don't care. But it's recent, 2022. Let's fucking go. 2022. Don't be Europe. Don't be Europe. Please don't be Europe. Please don't be Europe. Please don't be Europe. Fuck, it was in Europe. Revelers throwing tomatoes at each other during the annual Tomatina Festival in Bunol, Spain. Obviously. What is this? Okay. Oh my god. Look at that guy back there. Okay. Super popular. American stuff going on. Ooh, they flipped it like we can't read this. PB, PDP, U, SIR, ST. I don't actually know what this says. Don't know, don't care. Kodak. Look at all the suits, man. 1964 DC. Let's fucking go. My god. I was going to guess the hands too, but there were so many suits. I was like, they're not in California. I don't even know why I wanted to guess. Oh, because I saw this. Who cares? Fuck them. Damn, that was a good year. We're on the years. They had so many suits. I was like, maybe they're DC. I should have just guessed the hands. Okay. Welcome to Loag City. Oh, Loag City. Oh, shit. I know Loag City. Find F&J store. These are like American license plates, right? Segundo. Oh, Segundo. Segundo. That sounds like I feel like I drove down a Segundo Street in LA. Fuck it. Maybe Loag is around here. We're in 76. Let's 75. Oh my god. A billboard in Loag City put up by the dictator Ferdinand Marcos shortly before his ousting from power later in the year. Well. Well, anyway. Close. That's a lot of English for whatever the fuck country this is. Where are we? What is this? Is this part Malaysia? I don't fucking know. Or Malaysia, is this part? Where is this? Is this the Philippines? Oh no, Philippines. The fuck, bro? Who cares? Who knows and who cares? All right, that's okay. Okay, 2 more. We're going for 25K. Big one here. Oh, Brussels. That's in the... Dude, I always forget which country this is in. Brussels is like up here, right? Belgium? Yeah, okay. Brussels should be close by, right? You think? Driving tractors and shit. Okay. Okay. These are cars from the 1960. Let's go. We're right outside Brussels. 1962. Let's go, baby. Oh my god. Or 74, you know. Close enough. All right, let's go. One more. Okay, let's go. 25K. The Chase Emirates Arena. My god. Finally, a fucking easy one. 2023 fucking in the dubs. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking 2022 and dubs. Fuck, I should have done one. Oh my god. Why would we be advertising the United Arab Emirate in DC or New York? That sounds unpatriotic. 23.87. Nice. Good job. Okay, I'm leaving. I love you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Ripperino, cappuccino, pappuccino. What is this?
But like, you feeling bad about the Crimean
3 years ago
annexation does not change the reality of the Crimean annexation being a completely justifiable fucking act by the Russian government, okay? So that's it. That's fine. And Hitler invaded countries based on Germanic ties at first? Yeah, dude. Talk to me when he's fucking throwing Ukrainians in a fucking... What are you talking about? Talk to me when he's throwing Ukrainians at a concentration camp, okay? Hitler wasn't fucking bad because he decided to invade Austria. He was bad because he was fucking killing Jews, okay? That was the problem. He wasn't like, oh yeah, we're gonna fucking annex territory with like Germanic people in it. That wasn't the main problem with Hitler, I think. That was like maybe...
He does hedge with the I think at the end there.
Maybe 8th down the line.
Okay, 8th is quite far. All right. Other guys have fun. Be careful. Stay safe. Don't die. Wait, is there a video I'm supposed to be hosting right now? Ooh, Dr. Flint. Oh, one of the archaeology guys is on tonight, I think. Oh, I can just look at this. I can just look for bridges and it pops up more now. Upcoming. 10 minutes. Oops, something went wrong. Fuck you. This guy is super cool. He debated some loser on Joe Rogan. Oh, yeah, Graham Hancock. Get it? All right. Be careful. Stay safe. River, cappuccino, 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 cappuccino. I love you guys. Don't die.